We are all familiar with fire. We use it in different ways. Fire is both useful and dangerous. So let's find out how fire was discovered and which are the ways to control it in a lesson titled Fire, Friend and Foe. Early men didn't know what fire was, but he must have seen the damage it could cause. He must have watched lightning and volcanoes long before he began to use fire himself. Fire was powerful and dangerous, and he was frightened. So what is fire? Well, it may have puzzled early men, but we now know that fire is a result of a chemical reaction. When the oxygen in the air combines with carbon and hydrogen in a fuel, a chemical reaction takes place, and energy in the form of heat and light is released in this process. Three things are needed to make fire: fuel, oxygen, and heat. Wood, coal, cooking gas, and petrol are some examples of fuel, while oxygen comes from the air. That's why when you blow on a smoldering paper meaning the paper which burns slowly without flame. And the third thing which is needed to make a fire is heat. Even though fuel and oxygen are needed to make a fire, but they don't make fire by themselves, or else a newspaper or a stick lying in the open will catch fire on its own. So to burn a piece of paper or wood, we heat it before it catches fire. We generally do it with a lighted match. So every fuel has a fixed temperature at which it begins to burn. This temperature is called the flash point or kindling temperature of the fuel. So now let's see how fire is our friend and foe. Foe meaning an enemy or opponent. It is sometimes said that fire is a good servant but a bad master. It only means that fire is very useful as long as it is kept under control. So if fire gets out of control, it can be very dangerous. Each year, thousands of homes and shops are damaged. Vast areas of forest are also destroyed, and hundreds of people are killed or injured by fire. But on the other hand, we also use it to cook our food, warm our homes in winter, and to generate electricity. So we now know that fire can be both a friend and a foe. Now let's discuss the three ways to put out a fire. Just as three things are needed to start a fire, there are three main ways in which fire can be put out. In each one of the three things needed for burning is taken away. So now let's see how this happens. For example, we can take away the fuel. If the fire has no fuel to feed on, no burning can take place. We often let a fire die out simply by not adding more fuel to it. The second way of putting out a fire is to stop oxygen from reaching it. No supply of oxygen means no fire. Small fires can be put out or smothered with a damp blanket or a sack. This stops oxygen from reaching the burning material. Sometimes carbon dioxide is used to extinguish fire. It does not allow oxygen to reach the burning material. The third way of putting out a fire is to remove the heat. If the temperature can be brought down below the flash point, the fuel stops burning. If you blow on a burning matchstick or a candle to put it out, in doing so, you remove the hot air around the flame, bringing down the temperature below the flash point, and the candle goes out. Sometimes, water is sprayed on fire. It absorbs heat from the burning fuel and lowers the temperature. The blanket of water also cuts off the supply of oxygen and the fire is extinguished. Some fires cannot be put out with water. If water is sprayed onto an oil fire, the oil will float to the top of the water and continue to burn. This can be very dangerous because water can flow quickly, carrying the burning oil with it and spreading the fire. Water should also not be used on fires caused by electrical appliances. The person spraying water might have an electric shock and be killed. A carbon dioxide extinguisher is the best thing to fight an electrical fire. We spend millions of rupees each year in fighting fires, and we spend more trying to find new ways of preventing fires from happening and getting out of control. On the whole, we have learned rather well to control fire and put it to good use in our everyday life. Long ago, there were no firemen. When fire broke out, everybody became a firefighter. People formed human chains, they still do if required, and passed buckets of water from a well or a pond to the blaze. Now there are laws about building construction, which ensure that space is left between buildings to reduce the fire risk. Every new building, especially a public place, must ensure observance of fire prevention norms. Firefighters and fire brigades are there to help us put out fires. Firefighters are highly trained people and they possess many skills. They cut off electricity supply, knock down dangerous walls, and spray water and other materials to bring fire under control. They are also trained in first aid so they can help people suffering from burns or from the effects of smoke. The discovery of fire and its uses helped early men to cope with the nature better and gradually adopt a settled mode of life. Fire is still worshipped in many parts of the world. Fire is indeed a friend, but as we now know, it can be a dangerous enemy once it gets out of control. With this, we come to an end of this lesson, Fire, Friend and Foe. For your homework, read the lesson, copy the notes attached with the PDF file neatly on your English prose notebook. Instructions: follow the format given to write the notes neatly on your English prose notebook. To add more color to your lesson, you can draw the pictures shown on page 115 of your English textbook and then copy the meanings and question answers on the page that follows. Stay tuned for more fun and interesting English lessons coming your way. This is Teacher Anushka signing off for today. Thank you.